It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there guys, here to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I showed off the inner bicep. It mentioned that I wasn't sure how well it was going to heal. I'm still not entirely positive how well it's going to heal. Some of it has started peeling now. It's about 2.5 days after the session, so not super long after, but the parts that have started peeling aren't looking as dark as some of my other black on black. I don't think it will be as dark as, say, this. I think maybe it'll be pretty light if it's in there. Some parts will be good, some parts will be worse. I think the parts in my ditch are looking like they're going to be the softest. But as I mentioned, I had some dry skin for whatever reason in there. We may end up just kind of avoiding that area till that dry patch clears up completely. I don't know if that made a huge difference or not, and maybe I'm overthinking this. It could be better off than it looks when it all heals out. I try not to overthink tattoos early on. Like, I try not to even look at them much until they've started peeling or are fully peeled. I don't try to assume what it's going to look like until afterwards. I feel like a lot of people will get overly anxious about their tattoo and they'll end up fretting over it or over caring for it or just doing active damage. Even just stress can make a tattoo heal worse. So I try not to even look at it until in any serious way anyway, until after the peel is started or fully is done. It's not like I mind doing touch-ups anyway, and we're going to be in all of these areas more than once. As I mentioned last time, when we come to do the white in all of these spots and the color and stuff, there will be some touch-ups done as we go anyway, so it's not like it's going to be a one and done in any one of these spots anyway. If you're looking for that with work over black, it ain't going to happen. So I had another session today. Obviously, I mentioned I was going to be sitting down with Terry to get some more work done. We got all the thorns redone here, or not redone, but relined, so we didn't redo the shading. We also did the bottom of my hand. We couldn't get it this one when we did the outlines on the roses because it was still healing. The red around it was still healing anyway. That was 3 weeks ago we did the roses, so you can see that the outlines on the roses stayed really bold and crisp. So it is a little bit blacker now than it will be, but that's going to be about the way that those outlines stay. They don't really come back down much. So nice bold outlines on the thorns to match the roses now. And it really did the trick. I don't think I'm going to need to do a pass of color of any kind or gray of any kind on the thorns. I wasn't really all that sure. Good thing I left them to the end because I'm pretty satisfied with how they look now. I had talked about doing maybe brown or green in those, but I don't think that that's going to be a thing that we need to do at all. So again, good thing that we waited on that. Not much to say overall. Pain-wise, really easy session. I find lining easy. Some people hate lining. I actually find lining to be less painful than shading. There's debate about which is worse, obviously, but overall I find it pretty easy because you're moving through areas pretty quick. It doesn't get painful for me until you've been on an area for a long time. Like I mentioned with these spots in here on my inner bicep, not just because there's a lot of scar tissue, but also because there's a lot of detail. Rick ended up running several things over and over again to try and get the detail in there, and there's a lot of small shading and small lines and all kinds of extensive work on the inside of that one spot, and I find that it only really starts getting painful once the skin gets a little raw or you've been working on the same area for a long time. Whereas with lines, you're just cruising through, right? You don't spend very long on any one spot, so it doesn't take too much damage in any one area. That being said, the roses are what I wanted them to be, in that they're lighter looking than the thorns are, even though they're bold. Thorns are bold, and so are the roses. The thorns maintained a grayer, darker, blacker look than the roses did, because we only did the thorn white once, whereas parts of the roses have been done 3 times. So we got some good play with dimension and depth, and overall fairly satisfied with that. I did talk to Terry about potentially doing the bolder outlines on, the roses on my neck so that they match up, but I don't think we need to do that anytime soon. I think I'll probably get to that maybe in fall, early fall, because I've got my next 10 sessions loosely mapped out with Terry as it is. So not looking for more to add to the plate just yet, but we'll get back to that. I think that it's important when you're doing fairly consistent body themes to have similar line weights and similar shading and coloring techniques used and carried throughout the whole body of work, which is why we're going to be doing the same thing we've done on my neck and my arm over here on my head, with the same red velvet and similar thorns, different thorns, but similar thorns. We're going to put some red highlights in the thorns we do on my head. We'll probably be using something like the nebula red that we used on my underarm and my chest, so that red will be nice and bright like that. But that will still contrast from the red velvet that we're going to put on my head. So I shaved my head, obviously, this morning. You can see now clearer the spots that I was talking about. And on the left side of my head, there's quite a few poking through. On the right side of my head, not nearly as bad. But overall, that's only going to help me. That's not going to hurt me. And I don't really find that it bothers me anyway. To be quite honest, my head tattoos haven't looked clean in a while. So whatever would be bothering me now was already bothering me. The fact that it's pretty piecey up here should make it pretty easy to cover. So I am looking forward to a very positive result with the earliest attempt we've ever done white and black on black being 3 weeks. So in 2 weeks from now, we're going to start doing the white and black on my head. And my head it's only been 7 or 8 days, and it already feels like it's been a month. Heads heal really funny. They heal very quick, so I wasn't really too concerned with that, but this one healed especially quickly. In general, I'm healing faster than I ever have before. My head was peeled in 2.5 days. My arm is starting to peel over there in 2 days. People ask me all the time lately if getting all this tattoo work is slowing me down at the gym, and I'm not trying to brag, but I can't fit in any of the clothes I was wearing even last summer, fall. I tried to put a medium tank top on that I was wearing quite comfortably just a few months ago, and it just doesn't fit at all anymore. It looked like I was wearing one of my son's shirts. So to make a long story short, it's not hindering my working out at all. That being said, I know my body really well, and a lot of the things that I'm pushing and a lot of the things that I'm doing fairly soon after appointments, I wouldn't necessarily recommend someone who's only had a few tattoos, or even to someone who had fairly extensive tattoo work but not a full bodysuit or a very large amount of work. You seem to get to know your body and what to watch for the more work you do on it, and I like to think that I've got a pretty fine-tuned, polished system, and I can usually tell the minute it's okay for me to work out again. For example, usually it's the day after I get tattooed by Rick that I can work out again. It depends on the area, obviously. Like, I took a little extra time off with this one, because, as I said, it was still sore, and there's quite a bit of scar tissue in there, so there's some swelling. But generally speaking, once the swelling is gone and there's no more pain, it doesn't matter to me whether the tattoo is whether it's peeled yet or not. I'm good to work out. I haven't had any trouble healing tattoos in a long, long time. I've only ever had 2 tattoo infections, and both of them were hand and foot blackouts, so I've never really had any trouble with that part. I think I know my body to an extent that most people probably never will learn, just because I'm always healing something. At any given time, I'm in some form of discomfort or healing, to a place where I've gotten so used to it that I barely notice it. I used to say all the time at my old job, like, if you ever see me, especially because then I was stretching piercings a lot too, if you ever see me, just assume that I'm in some sort of pain or discomfort. Ever. If you ever see me. It doesn't matter what day it is, what month it is, what year it is, always assume that I'm in some form of healing. And I have been. I've been healing something on my body for well over a decade, consistently every day. And before that, it was still semi-frequently that I would be healing something. So I think that me being sore from working out doesn't really get to me the same way that it would other people, because I've been so used to being sore from every other kind of thing that for me it's just one more of those. And it almost doesn't register to me the same way that it might to someone else. And that might be a good and bad thing, because obviously, you know, our mind's stronger than our body, and I've always said that I wish my body could keep pace with me better mentally, because mentally I'm the Iron Man to some degree, where it doesn't matter how much it hurts me or how hard it is to do, I'll just do it. Whereas my body, it has limits. And though I've learned to respect them over the years, I have been known to ask for something stronger. Like, if they ever roll out like a mechanical replacement of some kind, some sort of android or cyborg type upgrade where your physical body could be more endurant, I would be able to keep pace with any amount of punishment physically you could give me through my mental callus. But unfortunately, with things like this, for example, my body is not at a place where it can, you know, it can hold up as well as I can mentally. And so part of the struggle for me is always learning what that line is and not pushing beyond it. Because there are times when Rick will tattoo me and I'm so callous to the feeling that I barely even recognize that I've been tattooed. And then it's like, oh, I want to go work out, you know? And then you have to remind yourself in that moment that you probably shouldn't. I've had to figure out that line, and that's been a tough one for me, because sometimes I really do feel like I could be doing more even when I shouldn't be. Yeah, it's interesting. Now, that being said, I keep saying when Rick tattoos me, I feel like that, and it's because I do feel a little more banged up when Terry tattoos me. It depends on what we're doing. Like today, obviously, was just lining, but like when Terry, for example, does the red out on my arm, you know, obviously that's a little more extensive trauma, and I don't think that he has the deep knowledge of skin and saturating color that Rick has, and so you take a little bit more trauma from Terry than you would Rick, but it's still not too bad. And usually after Terry tattoos me, I'm back to working out within 2 days instead of 1. Anyway, yeah, I got lots of plans over the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to reworking the bat, and I'll be talking to you guys again real soon. Have a great day.